My dear guests, I am Mr. Rock, your host. Welcome, Fantasy Island.
What it do? Welcome back to part 2 of the Chronicles of Firecracker Farah. Thank you everybody for being in the chat, honey. It's getting ready to go up, honey. What is Farah doing? Queen Sanity, hey love. Erica, thank you for being here. JD, yes, let's go. Hey Shayna. What's up? Thank you for being here. I know NOF. Thank you, love. Danny, hi, baby. My nurse P is here. Yes, mods, if you could just remind everybody to please hit the like button. And if they haven't already subscribed, because of course I forgot to put on the subscribers only mode. So I appreciate you all for being in the live, and it's getting ready to go up. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the recommendations and I'm going to click off at the end of the live and come right back, and we'll set the stage and you guys can give your thought. But please feel free to turn it up in the comments and go to town, and we're going to go see where we left off. The end of chapter 1. Farah made it into the bathroom just in time. She bust into the stall and braced herself over the toilet while the remnants of her appetizer came up. Whew, that was close. Farah wet a paper towel and wiped at her brow. Reaching her hand under the sink, she took a few swigs of water in her hand and sipped it. She knew what she was feeling would pass. As it always did, she had been through this 3 times before. Adjusting her skirt and halter top, Farah gave herself a once over in the mirror. Yep, still looking good. She was already growing to like this David. She only hoped she could keep the secret from him that she was pregnant. Well, at least for now. She left the restroom with an empty stomach and a plan to win David. Farah, part 2. Wait 1 minute. Now I know my new baby daddy ain't over here talking to no other woman. Farah had to catch her breath before she walked past the remaining 3 tables back to her own. She still had a meal to eat and now a few heifers to take care of. Farah wasn't sure, but she could swear she saw fear in David's eyes. He better be scared. He is already mine, and I'm about to let him know it firsthand. David got up as he saw Farah approaching the table. Her expression signaled it was about to go down. He had to think quickly. Jamie and Linda both stood by with startled looks on their face. By the time Farah reached the table, her neck was in full swing. Her brightly colored pointed finger extended towards the 2 ladies standing to David's left. Who are they? Linda let out a slight gasp. Jamie stood frozen in place. Farah, let me explain. David knew he had to. Tread really lightly with Farah. She had that look in her eyes, the one he had seen before in his sister and mother's a few seconds before they went off. Jamie found her voice, the only whisper of it. Pastor, introduced us to your friend. David couldn't even look at his 2 members as he extended his hand to introduce Faith. Ladies, this is Farah. Was there anything else he could say? David thought. maybe this is Farah. As soon as this dinner's over, I'm dropping her home and never seeing her or this bright shade of yellow again. Well, nice to meet you, Farah. Linda extended her hand only to have it left hanging in the air. Linda could have froze from the cold stare Farah gave her. Pastor, is that a nickname of yours? Farah placed a hand on her hip and waited for David's answer. David shifted from one leg to the other. He was in the middle of three women, and he wanted to give answers to none. How could he be so assured of himself on Sunday, standing before hundreds of people, but lose his ability to speak in the company of three? Listen, Farah, I was going to tell you about that before you went to the ladies' room. Farah looked at David, then shifted her eyes back to her plate to find a chicken wing that had some meat left on it. Her stomach was empty again, and she needed something to nibble on. Linda and Jamie looked on in shock. Farah nibbled on the remains of her buffalo wing before moving in on David. Using her chicken bone as a pointer, she stepped towards David. So, you are telling me you a preacher man? You the real deal, huh? That might not be such a bad thing, Farah thought to herself. Hmm, her plan might just get a little easier than she thought. All she had to do was use her womanly ways to pull this little church boy into her web. If you ladies will excuse us, me and Miss Farah are in the middle of our dinner. David hoped his saying this would make Jamie and Linda be on their way. He looked up to see them still standing by the table with their eyes deadlocked on Farah, who in return was giving them the stare down. Pastor, I guess we should be getting on our way. You two enjoy your meal, Linda stated, already turning to leave and taking Jamie by the arm. David sat with his head down for a few minutes after the ladies left. Hey, you praying? Farah said, slurping on her glass of water and raising her hand to signal the waiter for a refill. Yeah, you could say that. David raised his hand to take a peek at Farrell, who was looking at him with a dazed glare. Oh, I pray too, Farrah said, smiling from ear to ear. She knew she had something planned for her and David, only he didn't know it yet. I was in the store the other day and I prayed that God would let those Gucci slides be on sale. And the salesperson came out and told me if I took the last pair on the rack, he would discount them 10%. Oh, I know. Prayer works. Farah lifted her hand as if she had caught the Holy Ghost. David almost burst out laughing, except he could see she was serious. Yes, God is everywhere, isn't he? David said. The waiter came over to bring their order. Farah tore into her food. David sat pushing his food around on his plate. He figured at the rate Farah was eating, they'd be out of there in 5 minutes and counting. When Farah dropped her napkin in her plate, David immediately lifted his hand to signal the waiter for the check. Check, please. Thinking nothing of it, Farah took her mirror out to check her hair and makeup. She was getting ready for the first part of her plan to get Mr. Preacher Man, and it was going to be so much fun. Standing in front of the restaurant, David waited for the valet to bring his car around. A passing car blasting rap music sped by, but not without Farah dropping it like it's hot in front of the restaurant. David and the other customers waiting for the valet looked on in shock. Their stares were lost on Farah, honey, who was long who long after the car was gone was still dancing to the music in her head. When the car pulled up, David quickly took Farah's arm and led her to the car. Farah, uh, do you do stuff like that all the time? Brushing imaginary lint off of the front of her shirt, she turned to him, making sure he got ample view of her cleavage. Yeah, you like that, don't you? And there's more where that came from. She gave David a wink and settled back in her seat. David shook his head in disbelief. Was she serious? Making a U turn and accelerating towards the highway, David knew he had a destination to get to Farah's house and pronto. Pulling up in front of David's complex, he couldn't believe that he was there, and no less with Farah. David, you're such a doll. Farah smiled up at him, wiggling her finger from side to side. Good thing you're close to the restaurant. I really got to use the bathroom. David reluctantly got out of the car, looking to see if any of his neighbors were around. Rushing Farah into the building and down the hall to his apartment, he quickly opened the door. A breath, a bit of relief swept over him as he closed the door. Whew. At least no one was outside. So where is that? Farah danced from side to side as if she was doing the electric slide. The second door to your left down the hall, David pointed. Farah rushed to the bathroom. Only once she was inside did she end her charade. A girl has got to use her tricks, you know. Good thing he lived close, or her plan would have backfired. Can't be trying to seduce no preacher man with kids yelling, running around. That's what she figured. Farah was ready for the start of her plan. She slowly undressed, smiling at herself in the mirror. Turning the knob on the bathroom door, she slowly sauntered to the living room in nothing but her birthday suit. David had his back to her, car keys still in hand. When he heard her footsteps, he turned and did a double take. What the? David's words were stopped by the bell. David looked at the door. David, I saw your car parked. Just wanted to drop off the programs for Sunday service. Called a male voice from the other side of the door. Oh my Lord, David whispered. It was the associate pastor from his church. By this time, Farah was about 2 inches in front of him and in all her glory. Putting his head down, David mumbled, "What's a brother to do?" And scene. So that just concluded part 2 of the Chronicles of Firecracker Farah. I'm going to end this live and come right back to start our discussion.